Hey everyone, I'm TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom, and today I'm going to tell you all about the worst writing advice I've ever heard. So, the internet really is a wonderful thing. It is a true gift full of information and networking and all kinds of great things. Unfortunately, it also comes with its downsides. And one of those downsides is that anybody can put anything out there on the internet, including advice. So today I want to share with you guys the 10 worst pieces of writing advice I've ever heard. Now, some of these are geared towards parents who are writers, and some of these are just about writing in general. This is, of course, completely my opinion, and you may or may not disagree with me. That said, let's get started. Number 1, write every day. I'll be honest, I think this is bad advice for pretty much any writer. Being a writer these days is about so much more than just writing. You have to market, you have to build a platform, not to mention editing, networking, marketing, and a whole host of other things. Trying to do all of this and write every day is super difficult. Now add in parenting and, for some people like me, homeschooling, and it becomes pretty much impossible. I do try to do something towards my writing career every day, whether it's pre-writing, writing, social media, marketing, networking, editing, or anything else. Trying to write every day is just setting yourself up for failure. You're going to get stressed out and burned out and end up hating everything. That's my experience anyway. Now, you may not have the luxury of downtime or days off, but definitely don't overburden yourself by trying to stick to this outdated rule. Number 2, lock yourself in a room and avoid distractions. This one gets directed at writers who are parents a lot, and it is just downright impossible. I mean, seriously, distractions happen. Life happens. You can't just ignore all of your responsibilities. Maybe I'm taking this one a little too literally. I don't know. All I know is even when I have someone else to be responsible for Ava, whether it's my parents or my husband, if I try to hide away and write, she will still forget and come and ask me for whatever she needs first. And if you have an especially young child, like a baby or a toddler, you can't just hide from them and ignore them. That's called neglect. Now, if you have a spouse or parents or a friend who can take responsibility for your child for a little while so that you can lock the door and get some writing done, then by all means, do it. But not everyone has this privilege, and we really need to stop making them feel guilty for it. Number 3, write what you know. I've never really understood the point of this advice. Maybe it's because my favorite genre, fantasy, is all about imagination. Obviously, I have never seen a dragon in real life, but that doesn't mean that I can't write about them. George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry had no real experience with space travel and aliens, but that still didn't stop them from creating beloved franchises set in the outer reaches of space. Maybe this advice is more about including real-life experiences in your stories. I mean, it seems like it would be less confusing to just say that if that is the case. Adding things based on your lived experiences is a great way to add realism and believability to your stories. But to just flat out say, write what you know, is dismissive of research and imagination. For example, if you don't know what a horse looks like, it's really easy to just do a quick Google search to see what they look like. Or you can just invent an entirely new creature for your characters to ride, just like the Tauntaun from Star Wars. Number 4, hire a babysitter so you have time to write. This advice is honestly just steeped in privilege. I mean, if you're paying your babysitters what they're worth, it's going to be really expensive. Sure, $20 an hour doesn't sound bad if it's for 1 hour or even just 30 minutes, but it adds up fast. Even just 2 to 4 days is anywhere from $40 to $80 a week. The cheapest I could find in my area was still $10 an hour. And I can write after Ava goes to bed without having to spend anything. Of course, I'll admit I am lucky enough to have parents who will watch Ava for me so that I can write. And we do live together. So I am luckier than most here. But that doesn't change the fact that this advice is still terrible for most people. And I mean, maybe it's just me, but if I'm going to pay for a babysitter, I'm going to use that time to go out on a date with my husband. Number 5, outsource your chores. Speaking of advice that's steeped in privilege, listen, babysitters are expensive, but have you ever looked into how much it costs to hire a house cleaning service or lawn maintenance? We're talking triple digits here. In my area, a housekeeping service can run anywhere from $75 to $100 an hour, and lawn maintenance isn't much better. Are we really going to tell people that they should be spending $100 or most likely more than that a week so that they can make time to write? Really? I would love to hire a housekeeper, especially if they would do my laundry. But spending that much money just isn't realistic for most people. Can we please just stop assuming that people can just shell out money to outsource their housework or childcare so that they can make time to write? Number 7, always show, never tell. Show, don't tell is something that is hammered into writers day in and day out. And in many cases, it can be good advice. Unfortunately, this advice has gotten out of hand. Showing and telling are both valid tools for writers. You just have to learn to balance them and get a feel for when each one is appropriate. After all, you're not going to use a hammer when the job requires a screwdriver. A skilled writer can use both of these tools to guide and even misdirect a reader's attention. The bottom line is always show, never tell is overly simplistic and dismisses a really useful tool. Number 8, said is dead. I covered this in my dialogue video, so you can check that out for more information on this, but I do really hate that this is so commonly taught in schools. Said is a great word. Readers aren't even going to notice it most of the time. Whereas words like yelled, stated, interjected, and many of the others that are offered up as replacements are going to stand out like flashing neon signs. Number 9, write to market. I see this advice a lot in regards to marketing and making money as a writer, and I have a lot of feelings about it. However, I am going to try to restrain myself because writing to market isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that a lot of the time it's preached as the best or even the only way to be a successful writer. The thing is, trends move fast, and what you want to write isn't always going to be what's in at the moment. I say just write the story that you have to tell, and who knows, maybe your book will be the one that starts the next trend. And number 10, any absolute advice. I say it a lot, and I will probably say it again, but I really don't believe in most one-size-fits-all advice. To me, there are only 3 absolutes to being a writer. You need to write, you need to read, and you need to study your craft. Everything else is subjective. Some people like clean and direct prose. Others like more description and even purple prose. I say, be the writer you want to be, not the writer others tell you you have to be. Okay, so those are the 10 pieces of writing advice that I really hate. You can tell me the worst writing advice you've ever heard in the comments down below, or, as always, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And if you want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos on Sundays. See you next time.
Hi everybody.
Why don't you tell them your name in case they forgot?
In case you forgot, my name is Ava.
So why don't you tell everybody about the book that you're reading right now?
The book that I'm reading right now is The School for Good and Evil, Book 3.
Do you like it?
I love it.
What do you like most about it?
What I like most about it is, even though I haven't finished it yet, and I'm near the finish, is I think it's in that book, but there's a chapter, well there are 2 things I really like about it, with a funny name called Tedros in the Sky with Chocolate.
Okay, what's the other thing?
The other thing that I like is that the League of 13 is, I might leave some out.
That's okay, you don't want to tell everybody everything.
Yeah, but I'll just give you what one of them is. Cinderella.
Cool. And if you could pick one word to describe the book, what would you use?
Awesome.
Cool. Alright, tell everybody bye.
Bye. The book I'm reading right now is the 3rd book of the School for Good and Evil. I forgot its name for a minute.
Okay.